Okay, members. Good evening, members. Good evening to Castle Point's Cabinet meeting on the 20th of March. Good evening. We're not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if there is a fire alarm during the meeting, please leave at the nearest emergency exit and make your way and gather outside Runnymede Hall. Before we start, members, we've just heard the sad news of ex-councillor Norman Leslie, who was one of our past mayors, has sadly passed away. And maybe, members, we could just have a minute's silence in remembrance of Norman Leslie. Thank you very much. Thank you, members. Members, as we move on, Cabinet members, please present yourselves, starting with Councillor Warren Gibson.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Warren Gibson, Cabinet Member for Strategic Planning.
Good evening, all. Councillor Russ Savage, Cabinet Member for People and Community.
Good evening, Councillor Steve Mountford, Cabinet Member for Resources.
Good evening all, Councillor Tom Gibson, Cabinet Member for Assets and Special Projects.
Good evening all, Councillor Barry Palmer, Cabinet Member for Economic Growth and Climate Action.
Good evening all, Councillor Carol Sage, Cabinet Member for Health, Wellbeing and Housing.
Good evening, Michael Fuller, Cabinet Member for Environment.
And good evening, Councillor Dave Blackwell, Leader of the Council. Thank you, members. Any apologies for absence? There are none, I don't think.
No, everybody's here.
Yeah, we're all here. Any members' interest? No members' interest? Thank you very much. Item is the minutes. Members, is it okay I sign the minutes of the previous meeting as being correct? Thank you very much. Members' questions. Councillors have given notice they wish to speak or ask questions on the agenda.
No notice has been received, but obviously Councillor Isaacs is present. He's the Chairman of the Scrutiny Committee.
Okay, thank you, Godfrey. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Item 4 is the long-term plans for Town Fund. This report is in more detail on the announcement that I reported on at Council last week, setting out the details on how to progress the allocation from the long-term plans Town Fund. In the budget earlier this month, the Chancellor of the Exchequer announced that Canvey Island is one of the 20 towns to receive £20 million for regeneration over the next 10 years. The governance guidance on how the fund must operate was published in December and will apply to this allocation. This is a summary of the guidance at paragraph 4.4 of the report. Members will note that 3 investment themes: safety and security, high street heritage and regeneration, and transport and connectivity. A town board needs to be established to develop the investment plan. The guidance sets out how to establish the board. There is to be an independent chairman who cannot be the MP or a councillor, but the MP and a councillor from the borough and county are included in the membership. We will be working with the MP and the county council to get the board up and running. We are waiting on confirmation from the Levelling Up Department on the timings to establish the board and preparation on the investment plan. The council is the accountable body with responsibility for the administration of the board and its finance. As I said at council, this allocation was not expected, but we are well placed to respond. As I've pointed out in my report, for the past 18 months, councillors and officers have been working with Essex County Council to develop an investment proposition for Canvey, with work taking place on a wide range of initiatives engaging with community groups. We want the whole borough to have an opportunity to have benefits from this fund, and we will work with the town board to establish how this can be done. Members, are there any questions? As there was nobody given name to answer. So members, is that noted, the report? Thank you very much. Item 5, the community safety update. Councillor Savage.
Good evening all. So the purpose of this report is to note the future plans for the delivery of the Community Safety Council and strategic working with partners, links to council priorities and objectives, the report impacts on the corporate plan objectives for economy and growth, place and environment. The recommendations are to note the report and the officers provide a full report to Cabinet setting out the details of the Community Safety Partnership Community Safety Plan and any budget implications. And I'd like to thank Ian Butt for putting this report together. The Crime and Disorder Act 1999 actually places certain obligations on the council with regards to community safety, and these include a local community safety partnership, which we share with Rochford, and ensuring that we have plans and strategies in place to help address and reduce crime. Since November, the council had been working with partners to establish a future direction of travel for the Rochford and Castle Point Community Safety Partnership, and ensuring that the council is resourced to meet its obligations. This has been against the background of the loss of staff, and to put that into some context, we lost one member of staff from Castle Point, a member of staff resigned at Rochford, and one of the key players in Brentwood has been taken seriously ill. So, you know, across the board, it was a tough place for that particular group. In the new target operating model of the council, community safety now sites within the Place and Communities Directorate and will be part of a wider housing, health and partnership team. This provides an opportunity to review the service, our resources and partner relationships with fresh eyes. Work is ongoing, but it is appropriate for me to set out the direction. I'm not going to go through the whole list of things here, but I do want to pick out some of the more salient points. So we're seeking to enter into a service level agreement with Southend City Council, which will include preparing, reviewing and making an application to the Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner Safety Street Fund. This is ongoing now. And carrying out the strategic intelligence assessment to compile an evidence-based review. The community safety needs to identify priorities for the next 12 months with recognition of the customer's obligation to formulate a strategy for reduction of crime, combating misuse of drugs, the reduction of reoffending in the area, preventing people from becoming involved in serious violence and reducing instances of serious violence in the area. So audits in line with Section 17 Crime and Disorder Act 1998, the Act to understand the map what the council is currently delivering around crime and disorder, using the collated results in paragraphs 1B and C of the schedule to prepare a community safety plan, representing the customer at relevant crime and disorder community safety meetings, which we do already, and provide access to CCTV vehicle through bookings to be requested via email from the police. Agreement to the bookings will be subject to the vehicle's availability and the requested times. And taking it one step further, we've used that very successfully, that police camera van on Canvey, to assist us with the cruisers that occasionally turn up down at Roscommon Way, and they've had some pretty good results down there. And additional support regarding customers' community safety needs as may be requested from time to time, which will be subject to agreement by the supplier. So in November, the Rochford and Castle Point Community Safety Partnership held a workshop to identify the priorities, what priorities will be for the next few years. On the back of the officers are working with counterparts in Brentwood and Rochford to look at the operation and governance of the partnership as for discussions with partners including the PFCC. So in effect, we've been working with not only Rochford as part of the Community Safety Partnership, but Brentwood and Southend, and we've got a fantastic new area commander who was a former community policing senior officer at both Southend and Basel, so he knows this area very well. Basically, I won't go any further than that. I think I've kind of picked out the salient points of the report. The report has been before you, so I'd just like you to recognise the fact that a lot of work has been going on in this area. And again, I'd like to thank Ian for putting that report together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. I think it's really good to know that the amount of work what is going on with community safety, which people don't see, but I know the amount of meetings you attend when it comes to community safety, which this council holds at a great level. Members, are there any members of the Cabinet who... Councillor Fuller?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I suppose a very interesting report. I read through this. I'm particularly interested in the last paragraph on the human resources. implications. And I understand if you can't give me a full answer now, but I would be interested some more information about actually, you mentioned the recruiting a new community safety officer responsible for day-to-day. Is it possible to give us a little bit more information about actually what they will actually be doing and how they will be carrying out that role and who they will be responsible for and how they will actually do that task?
So in effect, they are actively trying to recruit somebody now I think it's from a policing background, and they will be a dedicated resource to the community safety partnership programme. So that's what their role is going to be. So I don't know if you want to clarify any further, Ian.
I'm more than happy to have a meeting, a separate meeting, if you want to go through that in detail, because the role has a multitude of different aspects to it, and it's absolutely yes, yeah. So more than happy to meet outside.
Thank you, Councillor Fuller. Members, is that noted? Good. Oh, just a moment. Councillor Isaacs.
Sorry, Leader. Just a very quick one for the councillor. Obviously, I was involved for a number of years on community safety, and I note that we had, we formed a joint community safety with Rochford back in 2012, I think it was. So, do we see that that's going to expand to include Brentwood, because we're like South Essex with Southend, to have one community partnership? Or is it going to be still like three separate feeding into the PFCC?
As it stands currently, we've still got the agreement with Rochford. Rochford actually have got an agreement with Brentwood separately. However, I think it just makes sense that we maintain those links across the whole of this South East corridor. So, in effect, we will be not entering agreement with Brentwood, but we will be working very much aligned with them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, because the reason we had the joint was because too many of the partners were coming in to the same meeting, so having two meetings with the same group of people. So we had one meeting with a group of people, whereas it makes sense to have one meeting with lots of people.
We have restructured to some degree the amount of meetings we're having. So we're having strategic meetings with the sort of the key players, and then subsequent meetings throughout the year with the partners. So it'll be a little bit more structured, to be honest. Do you want to add anything to that, Ian?
Can I just come in there, because we are going to have a full report come back to Cabinet, and so Cabinet, the recommendation is to note the report and that officers provide a full report to Cabinet setting out the details for the community safety partnership, community safety plan and any budget implications. Is that agreed? Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chairman, can we, before we go on, sorry, you were too quick for me. There was a recommendation from item 4, could you ask the Cabinet just to agree with the recommendation to authorise the officers to do all the work necessary?
Oh, sorry then, members. Can I quickly, I'll just move the recommendation, but the actual recommendation was that Cabinet recommendation are to welcome the announcement and the government allocated £20 million of funding from the long-term plan town fund to the caveat, and to authorise officers to do all the work necessary in accordance with the guidance issued by the government to establish the governance arrangements of the town board as it agreed. Thank you very much, and I apologise for that. So moving on, so the community safety, is that agreed, members? Agreed, good. Moving on, item 6, financial update, the third quarter stage. Councillor Mountford.
Thank you, Leader. First of all, I just wanted to mention there seems to be some misinformation on social media following the Council's budget use of reserves, and I'd like to remind everyone that last month at the Special Council budget setting meeting, we set a balanced budget. We did not increase our share of the council tax, and we did not withdraw from our general reserves to fund. The report this evening in our packs presents and shows the forecast underspend for the general fund in the current year. Details of this underspend in the general fund are listed and should be self-explanatory in the comprehensive report laid before you this evening. There is a slight overspend in the general and HRA funds due to increased pressures in housing and temporary accommodation needs. I strongly encourage everyone to read the reports which are prepared by officers of the council and are the single version of the truth, rather than following posts on social media with incorrect information. I present the report to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murfield. And members, are there any questions? No questions, members? Members, so it's nice to know our finances are okay, depending whatever other people are trying to say. So I welcome that. Is that agreed, members? Thank you very much. Moving on to item 7, the corporate performance scorecard, Q3 23-24. Councillor Mumford.
Thank you, Leader. So there are many areas of good performance. 21 of the 28 indicators reported being at or above target, including leisure membership on target with 4,400 members by the end of the year. Tenant satisfaction with repairs and maintenance, 100% satisfaction over the quarter. And the average void turnaround time is falling to just 14 days on average to return a council home ready for reletting. There is a positive shift to online services with over 10,000 signed up for e-billing for council tax and business rates, and over 5,800 online forms used for council tax and business rate transactions. A few other areas to highlight. Homelessness prevention and relief duties obviously is a critical and important area for the council. And our ability to either prevent or relieve homelessness has been impacted by a fall in a supply of affordable private rental homes. This is due to higher interest rates and government plans to abolish Section 21 no-fault evictions have led to landlords selling their properties, impacting on our supply. We as a council are unable to influence these decisions where a landlord has decided to sell, but we will continue to monitor the impact, although supply issues are expected to continue over Q4 and beyond. We are looking to purchase properties, and this will be brought to Cabinet in due course. Fly tipping is another important area. Performance for the removal of fly tipping across the borough continues to be very high. For Q3 23-24, at 98% of fly tips removed by council's contractors within 1 day of being reported. Further context for this. Further information provided in the report for Q2 showed the number of incidents of fly tipping had increased following the decision taken by Essex County Council that from mid-March 2023, visitors to recycling centres would be required to book an appointment in advance. Essex County Council have decided to make recycling booking system permanent, and it's worth noting 71% of those in Castle Point who responded to the consultation support keeping the booking system in place for cars, and 76 for booking for vans. And we were at the higher end of support across the county. We as a council are monitoring fly tipping, and incidents have currently had 4 fixed penalty notices issued, and we will continue to escalate enforcement, and we will be issuing fines at £300. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mumford. Members, are there any questions? No questions? Thank you then, members. Are the recommendations agreed to note the report and continue to monitor the performances? Is that agreed? Thank you, members. Item 8, matters to be referred from the Standing Committee. There are no matters. Matters to be referred to from Policy and Scrutiny Committee. Members, there is a report from Scrutiny, and I thank Councillor Isaacs and his team. Is a report on the South East Essex Councils, and that is their report for members just to note. Is that noted, members? Thank you very much, members, and I thank you for your attendance, and I say good night and see you next time. Thank you.